There we go. I heard something.
Oh, there we go. Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good, good.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Oh, not a problem. I'm very glad to be able to do this and be able to talk about some great music that's going to be coming out next month.
Hell yeah, most definitely.
So, thinking about that as well, how does it feel to finally be having this album coming out next month?
It feels awesome. Honestly, I'm very excited. It's my first full-length album on a major label like Century Media, and I couldn't be more ecstatic. I've never been more proud to release music in my entire life. So I'm very stoked. I hope people dig it as much as I do.
And well, I can definitely say that I very much dig it. I've been checking this out ever since I got the promo for it, and I love everything that's going on with this from start to finish. I love the diversity that's going on with it. I love the fact that there's so many layers to the music, so every time that you listen to it, you're able to discover something new with it. The music just hits so hard. The lyrics hit you even harder. I mean, there's so much to love about this, and it's so great to see the reaction that everyone's going to have when this does come out.
No, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. It really does. That's awesome. I'm really stoked you dig it.
Oh, not a problem. So thinking about that as well, what was it like to start writing for this album?
Well, it was interesting because I started writing this album after we did our first like run in September of 2021, and the first thing I wrote for the album was Earthen, actually. I came home and I had quit my job to go on the tour, and I had nothing but time, so I started writing, and that was like the first thing that popped out. Moving forward, we kind of went through some member changes, so it was mainly me and Matt writing for the album, and literally we would schedule a day out of the week, hop in a room for anywhere from 4 to 8 hours, and kind of just hash out the structure of songs, what riffs we were going to use, what we were going to build the song off of, what was going to be like the hook, and this is the product of it, and this is what we came up with. So that was like the writing process.
Oh, that's so cool. But also at the same time, I mean, when the first song for the album that you start writing for is Earthen, I mean, that's
Mhm.
already starting off on a super heavy notes, both lyrically and musically what's going on. I mean, how did that feel like starting with that and then writing around that?
Well, the album's pretty diverse, and like honestly, we had so many ideas for these things, and like we even have ideas that we didn't get to use on the album that are just really interesting. So it's crazy how diverse it is, but it really meshes well, and I think we chose the best songs for the album that really mesh with that type of sound. We just knew we wanted it to be melodic, we wanted it to be heavy, and we wanted it to be catchy. So that's the main thing, and I think all of these songs have that on each in their own different way. So it was very interesting writing such diverse stuff because I was almost afraid that it wasn't going to mesh as well as it did.
Yeah, and I've always been one of those people that appreciates the diversity of it, and the fact that so much went into these sounds. I can hear it, and it blends so well together too. I mean, you didn't just throw everything against the wall to see what would stick. Like it feels like everything was written with a purpose, whether it's the orchestration behind it, whether it's the breakdowns that's going on. It's just like everything has a real purpose behind it, and it's so great to see that.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Yeah, we tried our best to just not a lot of bands will just do like what we call riff salad, and like throw in an album and be like, here you go. And I'm more of a structure person. I'm more of like, and I write in pop structure, so we want things to kind of, like you said, have a purpose. Like it's not just a bunch of riffs thrown into a song with vocals over it. It's like it is a composition, and it's a oh man, what am I trying to say here? It's just structurally sound is pretty much what I'm trying to get at.
Oh yeah, and like I mentioned in the beginning, it's just like the more that I listen to it, the more I'm discovering each time. Whether it is more of like the orchestration or how everything is layered together, or being able to appreciate the lyrics more. I mean, every time it's something hits different, and I appreciate that. And the fact that there was so much work that went into it to make sure that it's like you can have that structure behind it. That like some people might be. Uh, Almost kinda lost the first time that they hear it, but the more that they give it a chance, everything starts to make sense, and to me, those are my favorite kind of albums, the one where it continuously grows and you're able to appreciate it the more you listen to it.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like you said, it does take a few listens to kind of hear what all is going on. And even me, I'll go back and listen and I'll be like, oh yeah, we did that there, and we did that there. It's like kind of like I get surprised as well going back to it. So thanks, man. Yeah, that really means a lot. That's awesome.
Oh, for sure. And the fact that you guys were able to put all of this together, and you still have some like amazing guest stars on this album as well too. I mean, it was great to see that, especially for like a debut album, especially for something like Century Media, being able to get some of like my favorite musicians to be a part of this album as well.
Oh, dude, yeah. The Howard Jones feature is the one that really sent me because
Absolutely.
15-year old me is like dying because I get to have my all-time favorite metal singer on our debut album, and it's just fucking nuts. And like not to discredit anybody else, that whole roster of guest features is just insane. Like Alex Terrible, Taylor killed his part as well, and then Kyle and Lindsay on the same track is just phenomenal. Like it all worked out like perfectly. So I'm very happy about it.
Was that written in mind to be able to, ask them to be a part of it, or did it just, like, come up later after, things started coming together, like, the idea of reaching out for people to be a part of it?
Well, we knew we wanted people to be a part of it. Like, like we're throwing out a few ideas, and like the people we had in mind before could, like, some of them were busy and couldn't do it and just couldn't commit to it, which we understand. Like, no hard feelings. Like, and especially if you're busy, like go, do your thing. Like, I understand. Um, but when we locked in these people, like we once we locked them in, we kind of just had parts to where we're like, okay, this person would sound good on this song. Like Howard Jones on Wide Open was probably the best decision we could have made to give new life to that song. Um, which that it's one of my favorite singing parts on the record. Um, and Alex having that brutal breakdown in at the Fowler, or like Kyle at the very end of the album, just disgusting. Like it's like we kind of chose the perfect parts for the people once we locked them in, and it happened to be luck that it just fit very, very well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the more I listened to it, the more it felt like, everyone involved, it felt like it was written with them in mind, and the fact that it did work out the way that it did, even if, some contributors who wanted to be a part of it weren't able to do it, and, maybe that can work out in the future. It feels like everyone that was a part of this album was meant to be on this album.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. And like honestly, like I wish I could say that it was written with them in mind, but it just worked out. And we like I said, we got very, very lucky. And like and I think it's like thanks to the people on our team and us, like, for choosing the best parts for these people. Like, had we not had that insight, it might not have turned out as well. So
Oh, for sure. And speaking of teams, I mean, being a part of one of the most legendary teams in all of metal now, being a part of Century Media, I mean, especially for a debut, that's got to be such a gratifying feeling to be a part of such a legendary roster.
it's insane. It's like completely insane to me. And like they treat us so well too. Like honestly, for being like such a new band and everything, like they've really like gone above and beyond for us. So I couldn't be happier with the team that we have. And we are starting to see like the fruits of our labor as well, like, and you know like they believed in us like from like day one, like, and like it was we're just very grateful that we have such an awesome legendary team working with us to bring the music to everybody who may not have heard of us. So it's awesome.
Oh, for sure. And the fact, especially when you are a part of Century Media and you want to be able to build up the album the best that you can. And of course, being able to get the best production possible, the best songwriting possible, and some amazing guest stars. Visually, there's so many great things going on. Like the music videos that you guys been able to put out for the singles for this album is just incredible to see all of the detail, no matter how heartbreaking it gets, no matter how cool it is just to see you guys play. I mean, it's just just seeing all the detail that goes into it and the backing that went into it, it's so great.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that means a lot. And like, honestly, the video team killed every single video that we had, and like really like past my expectations. Custom Fabrications, Missy and Vicente, who filmed it, they just nailed it. Like with the look we were going for, with the style, with what we were trying to convey. Like honestly, I couldn't be happier with how those turned out. You hear some bands, it's like, oh yeah, this is like what we had in mind, but it's not quite what we wanted and everything. I was like, no, they literally did everything we could have ever wanted. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and I gotta imagine like the first time that you were able to like I hear the album back and it's full quality for the first time, or seeing the videos for the first time and just seeing how everything came together like that, and just seeing how the band like started off from its inception to where it is now. I mean, again, like that gratifying feeling, it's just got to be overwhelming almost just to see the progression of the band.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, when Ricky first told me he wanted to do music again, I knew it would be big. But originally, like, he kind of just wanted to play like a few shows here and there, and maybe do some festivals if we got the opportunity. And now it's turned into, a full blown like band, and it's like it's kind of wild, the opportunities that we've already gotten. Like we were on one of the biggest deathcore tours of the year last year, and that is I will forever be grateful that we got the chance to be able to do that. So it's just kind of wild. I still I still like trip out because I'm doing interviews talking to like you and like everybody else, and it's like, damn, you care about my band? Like that's wild. You care about me? So
And it's it's so great how you mentioned that as well too, because it's one thing to be able to be like established and have albums out and then being a part of a tour like you were a part of last year, and people coming up to see you. But the fact that you guys are about to put out your debut album and you had to win over the crowds and show off what you were capable of in that live setting, going from so many people who may not have known who you were to becoming diehard fans in your set, that had to be a cool feeling to like seeing all those people like getting in the pits and enjoying the music that you were putting out there.
so fucking cool. Like honestly, yeah. It's like, I've been in so many bands and like grinded in my local scene and even did some touring before in other bands as well. And it's like it just doesn't compare to this at all. Like I'm forever grateful for those opportunities as well because it led me to this. But this is it just uh, wild to me. This is like the only way I can describe it, And it's like, people coming up to me, I'm like, I'm forever grateful, that they're willing to listen to something that I had a part in writing.
Oh yeah, and the anticipation that goes along with that as well too, because it's like people are hearing the songs for the first time. I imagine that there's a lot of kinks, with the live show and making sure that you refine it to be the best that it possibly can be. And now with the album coming out next month and all the touring opportunities that'll come from that, I just imagine this well-oiled machine is just gonna keep getting stronger from here on out.
Oh, dude, yeah, totally. Like we've definitely worked out a lot of the kinks that we've had live, but we're forever learning too. Like, what can we do better? What equipment can we get that's going to make us perform better? Like, how can we better ourselves as musicians? And how can we better our live performance? How can we make things like that are just going to like stick in people's head and really make them remember us? And it's been a process, but it's yeah, I'm the type of person, it's like you give me a challenge and I'm gonna see if I can like live up to the expectation type deal. So, it's been definitely a struggle learning some of the things, especially like with the band growing so quickly. Like, some bands have the time to like figure it out and really like, dial it in. But I mean, time wasn't necessarily on our side with that. Like, and like I said, it's a cool thing, but it's a double edged sword because we have to really figure it out. So, but our live show will continuously get better as well. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure. And it's just amazing again to think about because, again, with like the time and the pressure and everything building up the way that it has, like being a part of such a huge tour like that, being a part of Century Media now, having an album coming out, it's just like there's so much that you want to be able to refine and fine tune and make sure everything's going the way that it has. But, from the fan perspective, to me, it sounds like you guys have been sitting on these songs for like 8 to 10 years. They feel like they're so refined together, and it feels like so much intricacy went into it, and the fact that it was able to come together the way that it has, I mean, you can really tell that all of you have had so much expertise in other bands and being able to learn from everything, and the musical chemistry that all of you have together too, because if you didn't have the chemistry, these songs wouldn't have come together the way that they have.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. That means a lot. You know, I think the cool thing about this album is like we we wrote at the end, we started writing at the end of 2021 and continued on until we hit the studio in August of 2022. And so we to me it felt a little rushed, but in a way you get that sense of rawness from the songs, and then you get that raw sense of emotion from each and every song. So to me, not doing it as quickly as I think we did really benefited us because there wasn't really time to like go back and nitpick things and like, oh, maybe we should do this or this or this and this. And you kind of get that raw emotion out of the songs. So I personally think that worked out in our favor. And like, and maybe we're just the type of people that were like, we make things work, and like we kind of just get the cards we're dealt, and it works out because we kind of adapt, which is, a great thing. And, without, my guys or our team, like, I don't know how this album would have turned out. So, yeah.
So thinking about that for you personally, is there like any examples of where you feel like you really pushed yourself or progressed to a new level, especially with everything that's going on with the band?
Yeah, absolutely. When Matt wrote his parts, I wanted to fucking kill him because they were so hard. And it did push me to become a better guitar player. Um and like I think that having him help write this last album was huge for the sound because without him, I might not have been pushed as hard, and you might get something similar to the EP, which is great. But I think this next evolution of Sulfur is miles beyond the EP. I think there's a whole lot that we do differently and kind of showcase, and I couldn't ask for a better person to write with because that guy pushed me to in turn become a better guitar player.
Yeah, and again, just like every time I go back and listen to this, I'm able to again, like able to pinpoint like so many great things that are going on between everyone in the band, and I'm able to pick up on so many great moments. And the fact, like like on the guitars, on the vocals, bass, drums, all of this, I'm able to hear all these absolutely insane things that fit so perfectly together and feel like that they were meant to be there. And again, it's just like with this being the first full LP, I just know that the band is just going to keep getting stronger and stronger. The fact that you had some material that wasn't able to make the album that might be able to fit in something in the future, or you might just be able to come up with something even grander than what you've come up with on this album in the years ahead. It's just going to be so exciting to see where the band's going to be going from here on out.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, we're like I said, we're just striving to constantly be a better band and better musicians. So I mean, if we keep that up and don't get complacent, then I think that that will happen, and it's like I'm not one to be complacent because I can never have enough. So it's with at least the guitar playing, I can say that. And like, I'm knowing my guys, I know they're not the type to do that either. They constantly want to be better as well. And you can definitely hear it in these songs too. So very, very, very stoked that I work with the group of people that I do.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, again, I can only imagine like how much work did go into it as well too, especially when I think of the arrangements of the songs as well too, and like the changes that can happen on the turn of a dime. Whether you're going into some hyper blast and then all of a sudden it just goes into like one of the slowest, most brutal breakdowns I've heard in quite some time, or being able to focus on the orchestration, or one of the greatest choruses I've heard in quite some time, being able to have Howard Jones a part of that with Wide Open. It's just like there's so much to love and appreciate that's going on here. And yeah, I'm just excited to see like the more that your name is getting out there, Century Media backing you, the album coming out next month, and all of the live shows that are sure to happen along with that. It's just like I can feel the band growing and growing stronger and stronger.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, that really does mean a lot. Like, and like I said, I'm super excited for people to listen to this because I really hope they dig it as much as I do or that you do. Like, which I'm super grateful for. Thank you for the kind words.
Oh, for sure. So thinking about that again, of course, at the end of March, this album is coming out. Like, what's going to be going on after the release?
So after the release, we do have plans to tour the US. I can't say with who at the moment because it hasn't been announced. However,
Understandable.
however, I'm sure people will see soon enough, depending on when this comes out or whatever. But it's a good one, and I'm very stoked that we're getting the opportunity to do this, especially off that album release. So, I hope people come out and see us.
Oh yeah, I mean that's got me very excited, and I'm already like thinking of bands that would work so perfectly for you guys. But one thing that does come to mind again, like when I think about everything that goes, especially into this album, is the fact that you would be able to fit on so many different types of bills, which is so great. Like, of course, like a deathcore is such a huge part of it, but I think you would work so well in a black metal sense. You would work so well in a death metal sense. I mean, there's so many different areas that it could work together and you would fit perfectly on the bill.
Oh, yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what we were going for in a sense, because yeah, we do fit on the deathcore bills, and like, we could definitely fit on a couple of those other bills that you mentioned too, but it's like, we just try to be a metal band in a sense, like, and you can try and pigeonhole us into a genre if you want, but we have so many influences in our music that it's kind of really hard to. And I, in a sense, we just wanted to be the best metal band that we could be, and deathcore obviously is where we, you know, start, stop, and end, and that is what we are classified as. But we just want to be a metal band. We just want to rock, dude. So,
Absolutely. And those always end up being my favorite bands, is like the ones that you can't really pigeonhole. Like you can get like an idea, you can get like the core sound of what they're going for, but there's so many different influences and you're able to spread your wings and be able to show all these different sides, whether it gets poppier, whether it gets more brutal, whether there's more orchestration, whether you do more genre bending. I mean, there's so many different areas along with it. As long as you have that core refined sound of what the band can be, there it's really limitless on what you can achieve.
oh, 110%, 110%. And it's like I feel like more people should kind of like let loose from the genre and the shackles that genres have on people, and just write what you want to write. And like, if if it works, it works. It's one of those things, like you can follow the formula to a T, or you can just be the best you type of band that you can be. And that's why we have like no restrictions on what we write. Sometimes it might be brutally heavy fucking death metal, sometimes it'll be on a little bit of a metalcore side, and like, that's okay. Like, at the end of the day, if you have your core sound and it all is meshes well, then you have nothing to worry about.
Oh, for sure. And again, that's just what has me excited for the future. I mean, if this is already what you guys have done with your first EP and now your first LP and all of the touring experience that's going to be going on with this formation and everything that will continue in the future, it's just like I really see the sky is the limit going to be going on here. And again, I can't say enough good things about this album because there's so much that I could just like pinpoint and want to talk about, like all these great arrangements and the symphonics that goes behind it, and like all these different things that go along with it. But I think overall, the important thing that I listen to as someone who's been a part of so many different local bands myself is the fact that you are writing for you. You're writing for the band. And all of you have had that experience of knowing what you're looking for, what you can contribute, and it's working towards the same goal of making the music that you want to write. And I love that authenticity behind it. And I really hope that that never gets lost. And I don't think it will, because if you're already doing this, I can't imagine that that authenticity would ever be lost.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that's the whole thing. If you're not writing for you, then it's just not it's not as people can't connect, like, so, you gotta stay writing for you. And if people like it, great. If they don't, then you chalk that up to an L and you move on and try and do something else, like maybe you tweak the formula a little bit more. But at the end of the day, you as musicians is what's got to come first. And like the fans, being the fans that they are, will know where you're coming from in that time and space, hopefully.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, again, I mean, if I'm blown away as much as I am, being able to check you guys out for the first time, being receiving the promo for this album, and being able to explore what you guys have done with the EP and now the LP and what to look forward to in the future. And of course, when that tour announcement comes out, I'm very excited to see who you guys are going to be playing with and where you guys are hitting around here in the States. It's just I'm so excited to see all of these great things happening, and of course, being a part of Century Media, and of course the new album coming out next month through Century Media. I love everything that's going on with this. It's been an amazing time being able to talk to you about all of this, and it's great to see how appreciative you are being able to see everything and the fruits of your labor being able to come through this. And I imagine that myself, other people that you've talked to, comments online, comments at shows, just like seeing all this great positive reception. It's so well deserved, and I'm so thankful to see that you guys are getting the recognition that you deserve and everything that will come in the future.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that means a whole lot to me personally, and as well, I can speak for my guys as well. They really appreciate the people that support us, and we hope that we continue to make everybody happy, and like share our music with the world. That's like the end goal. We just want to share our message and our music to the world.
Oh, for sure. And sadly, I know I got to wrap things up here. I know it's a busy press time with everything that's going on. So again, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about the new album coming out through Century Media. Again, I love what's going on here, and I thank you so much for this. But to wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
No, I've just thanks everybody for your support. We're gonna continue to try and make you proud, and I hope you enjoy the Burden of Faith as much as I do. Because I'm never been more proud to release a composite uh comp I really screwed that one up. Uh, an album. I'm really stoked to release this album.
Yeah, this composition, this collective of songs it's I can definitely tell it feels like it's a triumph for yourself, and I gotta imagine with the other guys as well too. They gotta be feeling very similar, if not the same feelings. And yeah, I highly recommend anyone checking this out. Check this out March 24th through Century Media. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk to me. I'm so excited to be able to help promote this, and it was an awesome time being able to talk to you about all of it.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time as well. So thank you. It's been a pleasure.